my friends, this is Amner Hunter from Amner Hunter Studios. Welcome to the first video of this content that I will be sharing with you. Content that I learned from two of my most important mentors, which are Graham Cochrane from the Recording Revolution and Joe Gilder from Home Studio Corner. Okay, this content that I learned from them will be in these videos, so stay tuned. A lot of more materials coming your way. So first we're going to look at 8 tips to make better recordings at home studios. Okay, these 8 tips are from Graham Cochrane from the Recording Revolution. And okay, we love to record at home, right? Technology has decreased the prices a lot, and the quality of this technology has increased. Okay, we live in an era where it's very easy to have computers, recording interface, microphones, good recording equipment and gear. Okay, and we feel very excited to record our demos or our music at home, okay, because we want to share it with the world. We want to share this music with our family, with our friends, with our followers, with our girlfriends, etc. So we sometimes face with struggles or problems during the home studio recordings, right? Because we are not in the proper environment, you know. And so I'm going to give you 8 tips today to make your recordings at home better. Okay, so let's start with tip number 1, which is replace your guitar and bass strings and your drum heads. Okay, you might think that this is very basic and obvious, but a lot of people don't do it actually. So when you replace the strings on your guitar and bass, they will sound brighter and more alive. Otherwise they sound dull and lifeless, but we don't realize that until we hear the change. Okay, and also on the drum heads. Okay, there's a major change when you change the heads of the drum. Okay, and it applies also to cymbals. If you have broken cymbals or very old cymbals, there's a major change when these parts are replaced. Okay, and a lot of people focus their energy and time on getting the best guitar, or getting the best microphone, or getting the best recording interface, mic preamp, the best plugins in the world. Okay, but you have to first, before all that, you have to make sure that the source that you are recording is in proper condition. Okay, that will be your guitar, bass, or drums. Okay, so if you have your guitar and bass strings and your drum heads in shape, and the source will be better captured by the microphone. Okay, so this is tip number 1, people. Don't think that this is not important. This is very important actually. So alright, let's jump up to tip number 2, okay, which is to use a closed mic technique. Okay, right, because when we are at home, there's probably gonna be noise from the outside world, or maybe a refrigerator. We are close to the kitchen, or the computer fan, okay, is causing a lot of noise in the room. Maybe we are not in the proper environment for recordings. Okay, so using a closed mic technique, let's say vocals, acoustic guitars, and drums, and guitar cabinets, etc. Using a closed mic technique will be better, because you're not going to be capturing, or you're going to be capturing the less of the other noises that are around. Okay, so focus your microphone on the source, put it close to the source, and this way the microphone will capture more of that instrument or more of that source instead of capturing the ambience and everything. Okay, so this is a very common technique in home studios. Okay, and in our home studios it's better because a lot of things from the outside can bleed into the microphone. Okay, so with this we're going to minimize that noise or that outside things that we don't want in the recording. Okay, and if with that technique, if you still hear some noise on your recording, on your instrument, well, probably you won't hear that noise when all of the instruments are playing in the mix, okay, in the context. So this should be tip number 2, and let's move on to tip number 3, okay, which is double track your guitar and vocal parts. Okay, this is a very old trick to make your guitars and vocals to be wider and bigger and fuller. Okay, so what you do is you record a guitar part, that, let's say, or a vocal part, and you double track that part. Okay, you record again the same part. Okay, and it's going to be the same riff, okay, the same instrumentation, but there are some things that differ from one to each other. Okay, and these differences between one take and the other causes a trick to our ears. Okay, and if we pan those parts, let's say guitar to the left and one take to the right, we're going to listen to them very full in the stereo spectrum. Okay, so this is a very common technique also for vocals, to make vocals to feel bigger and in the mix. Okay, so you could sing a part, and then you can make the singer to re-record certain parts of the song, and the same, pan left and right, and your vocals will sound bigger and fuller. Okay, so this is tip number 3, double track your guitar and vocal parts. Okay, tip number 4 is record to a click track. Okay, maybe a lot of you guys think that click track is a very boring thing, and actually maybe you think that it makes the sound or makes the music sound like robotic or something, but actually record to a click track, it's a very professional thing, because we home studio enthusiasts tend to record the instruments for separate takes. Okay, we record guitars, and then maybe next day we record bass, we record vocals the other day. So being on time with a click track allows us to have a very polished sound, a very professional sound. Okay, because everything is synced with each other. Okay, and also when we share in our home studios our recordings, or maybe a guitar take from someone else that is in another part of the world or in another part of the country or something, and they are going to record something to that guitar take, let's say, if we tell them the tempo at this track was recorded, so they could also record, okay, and being sync with that recording that we make here. Okay, so recording to a click track or to a metronome, it's a very professional thing, and also when you get used to a click track, uh, you also, when you are live, or when you are, let's say, playing with your friends, the timing in your head, okay, uh, is going to be very, very well polished also, okay. So you are going to be better synced with the other players, and it's very important to get used to a click track on recordings, okay. So there's a click track or a metronome, there's a digital one, and that's the one in Cubase, okay. So let's jump up to tip number 5. Okay, play cleaner and simpler, okay. So a lot of people, when they're going to record some instrument, sometimes they complicate a lot, and sometimes they compose things that cannot play, or that are very they are not ready for the recording, right? They get to the studio and they start to record, and everything sounds very, very muddy. It doesn't sound clean at all. That's because they are not prepared for record that, okay. So my advice here would be to play or to record the simplest thing, the simplest way possible that you can, your parts, okay. I don't mean that you record only 3 chords or something. If you are able to compose something very complicated, but if you actually can do it live in the recording, well, that's awesome, right? But sometimes people tend to compose things that they cannot play, okay. So it's very important to record in the studio the cleanest way possible and the simplest way possible, okay. Simplest to you, I mean, okay. If it is a very complicated guitar solo or guitar part, or a very intricate drum fill or drum solos or anything, if the drummer is well ready to do it, well, that's fine. But if that arrangement cannot be played by the musician, then do not record that, okay. Make sure that everything that you record is something that you actually can play, okay. So that will be tip number 5. Let's jump up to tip number 6, okay, which is change up the instrumentation, okay. And by this I mean that when you record your songs, try to do it with arrangements, okay. Try to do the things interesting, the song interesting. It could be, for example, if the intro it's just a clean guitar, and then there's a next part of the intro, but you add electric guitar and then the drums, and you start to build the song, right, to make things more interesting. Something that I like to do a lot is, for example, to the first verse of the song is in some way, and then in the second verse of the song I change something, either taking out something or adding something extra, and the same on the chorus, etc. So in that way you are going to keep doing the same, and the song, interesting, and the listener will be interested by the song, right, because it has some changes, some instrumentation, and this is part of the production and pre-production of the song, right, the arrangements that it will have, to not make the song boring to the listener, okay. And actually it's less boring to you, actually, because if you play it live, it's going to be exciting also, not playing the same thing over and over again, okay. All right, and let's move to tip number tip number 7, okay, which is a comp track technique or a compic track technique. Okay, mm, this has to do when you record in your digital audio workstation, all right, in your software. um, we can use our tools, which are editing, right? Our software are very capable of editing options, okay? And let's say when you are recording somebody else or yourself, sometimes things does not go right. You know, you make mistakes in the recording, you go out of tempo on something, you don't play a note that there was supposed to be a note, and some things like that, all right? But what I like to do is to play the whole part, all right? Let's say the verse or the guitar solo, to play the whole part and to sound natural, okay? And then again, when we finish recording that, we can record another take and record another take, and the takes that it takes to get to the final result. And we can use the editing options on our softwares to get the best of the takes, okay? To get the best of each take and make a single master take. All right, so this is a comping track technique. It's very used in today's recording because of these editing options that our softwares are capable to do. So I try to do the less takes possible, but if I can, if things don't go well in one take, maybe I go to the next one or to the next one, and I can get the best parts of each one, okay, and make a master take. And for your vocalists, for example, it is also better because they are making the best performance on their vocal thing. So instead of recording them and then stopping them and saying, hey, this part was wrong, let's start again. No, it's better to let them sing through the whole part and then record another part and record another part, all right? And when you feel that you have good parts in all the takes, well, you make one master take, okay? So this is a very common technique today. So let's jump up to the last one, which is try something weird, crazy, and different, okay? This is very obvious, but sometimes people stick to all the things that they read or that they learn, okay? But don't be afraid of try things that no one has ever tried. Don't be afraid to be weird or different. You know, be creative. For example, there's a picture of Dave Grohl, but there are a lot of musicians that like to try things, crazy things. For example, Dave Grohl, he wanted to do an album, everything on analog equipment, okay? He didn't want a digital recording, so he could do it and did it. And he likes to do different stuff and weird stuff, maybe, and like some other rockers or metalheads, you know, that try a different mic technique, try different recording techniques, mixing techniques. Don't be afraid to try it, and a lot of cool things could be out of those trial and error, right? And think of this way. How is it that the techniques that we use in modern recording and mixing, how is this that they are usable now? It is because maybe some people in the past, in the early days, they tried something different and it worked, right? And those techniques um, live till today because someone had the courage to try it. Okay, so this is the last tip: to try something weird, crazy, and different. And well, go make better recordings, better mixing at home. And well, with this point, with this final tip, we finish this video. So thank you very much, folks, for your attention and support. Stay tuned because a lot of content is coming your way. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time. All right.